Hello and welcome back to another video on the Football Zone and to all weekend preview, previewing this weekend's Premier League and Championship action, starting off in the Premier League and on the Friday night fixture with Newcastle hosting Wolves. And yeah, Newcastle, of course they did go on that really decent run, but that's 3 losses in a row for them now. I think their season is kind of over though, really. You could say they're on the beach. Wolves are still kind of pushing for a European place. Yeah, they got a solid win last time out over local rivals Villa. They probably need it more, but I just think Newcastle want to stop the rot. Home advantage. I think it will be a draw here. Moving on into a big game for both sides. Everton taking on Manchester United. And Everton 3 losses in a row in deep trouble after that loss to Burnley. It has to be said. Man United, top 4 ambitions are looking really tough for them at the moment. But it's still not over yet. They still need a win here just to keep the momentum going against an Everton side, like I say, who just desperately need a win. So yeah, it's a big game for both of these sides, but I just feel like United will get the win here. Everton is just so short of confidence that this is a game that United simply have to be winning. Moving on then to Arsenal as they host Brighton at the Emirates, and yeah, Arsenal will be absolutely desperate to bounce back from that 3-0 loss to Palace. They just have to bounce back simply. Brighton only got a draw at home to Norwich last time out and lost their last 4 before that, languishing in 13th. So this is an absolute must win for Arsenal and reassert their place in the top 4, and I do think they will do. I'm going to say 2-0 to the Gooners. Moving on then to Southampton as they host Chelsea at St Mary's, and yes, Southampton not in a great run of form themselves really at the moment. Lost 4 before a 1-1 draw to Leeds last time out. But Chelsea, since the international break, they've lost 2 games in a row, and they'll be desperate to bounce back here. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they do rest some players, because their position in third is kind of safe, isn't it? And just go all out for the Real Madrid game. But I'm not sure they necessarily will. I think they will go through it here, and I think they will have enough to just about get the win. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on then to Watford, who host Leeds at Vicarage Road. And yeah, Watford, they've lost a lot of games at the moment recently, but did get that win against Southampton just before the break, against the Leeds side, who are on a relatively decent run of form at the moment. But yeah, their Leeds pretty much safe now. And Watford, they need to start winning games to have any chance of staying up. And yeah, that makes me think they'll just go all out for this one, because it really is a must-win game for them, isn't it? To have any chance. And yeah, I think they will get the win. I'm going to say 1-0, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes any other way. But moving on then to Villa, who host Tottenham at Villa Park, and Villa have lost 3 in a row now, seem to be stagnating a bit under Steven Gerrard. But Tottenham 3 wins on the trot, and yeah, they really seem to be firing at the moment. Playing really well in recent games, and they get themselves into a decent position to just nick ahead of Arsenal in the top 4 race, and that'd be some return for them. And yeah, you bet them to get the win here. Playing really well at the moment against a Villa team that's slightly outsourced at the moment. So yeah, I'm going to say 2-0 to Tottenham. Moving on then to Brentford against West Ham at the Brentford Community Stadium. Brentford, that 4-1 win against Chelsea, that will live long in the memory, and 3 wins from the last 4 for Brentford now, playing really good stuff. Against the West Ham side, who have obviously played on Thursday night, so maybe at a slight disadvantage there. But West Ham, they still are fighting for that place in the Europa League or whatever. So this is a big game for them, just to really cement that place. I'm going to say a 1-0 to West Ham, but it's a game that could go either way really, Brentford fine. But moving on then to Leicester versus Crystal Palace at the King Power Stadium, and Leicester, they're going okay at the moment, aren't they? Got a solid draw against Old Trafford last time out. But yeah, the PSV game, 0-0, wasn't much really to write home about in that one. Against the Palace side, they're absolutely flying. So, it's the 2 teams who are pretty evenly matched. People would have been surprised to hear that at the beginning of the season. But, still, I just feel like Leicester will have a bit too much, home advantage. Palace seems to be much stronger at home. I'm going to say 2-0. Moving on into a massive game for Burnley as they take on Norwich at Carrow Road. And yeah, Burnley, for them, the win last time out, hopefully it's erased the last 4 games, but they haven't done too well at all, really. So that's what they'll be hoping. And yeah, taking on Norwich side that are pretty much down now, all out of sorts. This is just a massive opportunity. And I can see them taking it, to be honest. I think takes so much confidence from Everton going that they'll do it. I'm going to say 1-0 and really worry Everton. But moving on then to the game that everyone's been waiting for. It's been building up to weeks. The title decided potentially Manchester City versus Liverpool. And yeah, obviously as you'd expect, both teams absolutely flying at the moment. And yeah, for City, they can afford a draw here. You probably say Liverpool can't. So yeah, Liverpool will have to go out for an attack with this lineup. City can maybe hold back it, but I don't think that's City style, and it's going to be such an interesting game. And yeah, I just can't pick between the two sides, but I'm going to say Man City are going to win it. Liverpool can go for it, get more desperate, and City will get the win, 2-0. Moving on then to the Championship, the game between Sheffield United and Bournemouth. And yeah, this is a game that I really can't wait for, because obviously Sheffield United got the win last time out, but their form recently has been a bit inconsistent as they look to get into the playoffs. But then you've got Bournemouth, who is second, still got commanding gap. But you know, you'd say their running is a bit tough. And Sheffield United are good at home, so I'm going to put more cats among the pigeon in the autos race and say Sheffield United get the win here. Moving on then to Blackburn, who take on Blackpool. Thought I'd get them confused, to be honest. At Ewood Park, and yeah, Blackburn not on a great run of form at all at the moment, it has to be said. And yeah, you do feel like playoffs are really starting to slip away. But you know, Blackpool have lost 2 games since the international break and have slipped down to 16th in the table. So you know, this is a game which Blackburn have to be targeting to get the 3 points from. If they don't, yeah, then you know they can probably bid goodbye to playoff hopes. But yeah, I'm going to say 2-0 to Blackburn in this one. Moving on then to Bristol City, who host Peterborough at Aston Gate. And yeah, Bristol City, I mean, like, they come into this one in not great form, it has to be said, just 1 point from the last 3 games. But you know, they did put up a fight against Bournemouth last time out for them. Peterborough getting a 1-1 draw against Luton, and most games do look competitive, really under Grant McCann. So, you know, it won't be an easy game for Bristol, but I think they will have a bit too much for Peterborough here. I'm going to say 2-0, let's say. Moving on then to Middlesbrough, who take on Hull at the Riverside. And yeah, Borough obviously a 1-0 loss to Fulham last time out, but for me, I don't think they really deserve that. I don't think it was too bad a performance really against the Hull side, who have lost the last 2 games. But you know, it doesn't really make a difference for them. I think they're safe now. Been on the beach for a while really. It's about preparing for next season now really. You'd probably say. So yeah, I'd say 2-0 for Borough this one. They've got to be favourites there. Moving on then to Millwall as they host Barnsley at the Den. And yeah, for both of these teams, you do feel like it's starting to slip away for them at the moment. Millwall, of course, that 1-0 home loss to Swansea last time out. And yeah, it's looking hard for them to get to the powers now, realistically. But Barnsley, yeah, I mean, like, they were looking like they had some fight. But you know, Reading have just gone a bit of a run, stretched their legs, and now it's looking incredibly tough for them. And yeah, I think Millwall will have the better of them here. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on then to Forest as they host Birmingham at the City Ground. And yeah, Forest are just on a roll at the moment, aren't they? Playing so well. Won the last 4 championship fixtures, most of them pretty comfortably as well. In fact, all of them pretty comfortably, by more than 1 goal. So yeah, they're just absolutely flying. But of course, Birmingham got a really good win against West Brom last time out. So you know, it won't be an easy game for them. But I fancy Forest once again here. It's hard not to fancy them at the moment. I'm going to say 2-0. Moving on then to Preston QPR at Deepdale. And Preston, I mean, like, yeah, they'll come into this one full of confidence after that 1-0 win over their local rivals Blackpool last time out. QPR having 4 losses on the trot, and yeah, playoffs is looking really tough for them to get now. And yeah, under Mark Warburton, I mean, like, maybe his stint as manager's coming to end. It kind of feels like it, which is sad considering that's gone in the last few years. But yeah, I can see them ending the losing streak here and picking up a 1-1 draw. Moving on then to Reading as they host Cardiff at Select Car Leasing Stadium. And yeah, this is an interesting one because Reading, of course, really picked up lately 2 wins and 2 draws in the last 4, and looking good for survival. But Cardiff, yeah, that 4-0 defeat to Swansea followed a really good run recently. So yeah, they'll be disappointed with that, won't they? And it'll be interesting to see how they respond. But I just fancy Reading here just to kind of assure survival. I'm going to say 2-0 to the Royals. Moving moving on, then West Brom take on Stoke at the Hawthorns, and for West Brom and Stoke, really, I don't think either team has too much to play for now, really, do they? Just about building for next season. West Brom, though, 2-0 win over Bournemouth last time, really, really solid result. It's funny how inconsistent they can be, losing to Birmingham, but then going and beating Bournemouth so comfortably, and Stoke losing to Reading last time out, it's kind of a sign they've got nothing to play for, really. I'm going to go for a West Brom win here. I just think home advantage, they'll carry momentum from the Bournemouth game. Moving on then to Swansea, who host Derby at the Liberty Stadium, and Swansea, what a great start they've had since the international break, really showing their potential under Russell Marler, and I think 2 wins, 4-0 and a 1-0, 2 away wins as well, so back home against Derby, so we got a 1-0 win after Preston, but I think they've kind of been suckered by Reading's recent form, really, and it's hard for them to stay up now. I'm going to say 2-0 Swansea win here. I think they'll have a bit too much for them. Moving on then to Sunday's game, and that is Fulham, who take on Coventry at Craven Cottage, Fulham, 2 wins on the trot, just ticking along nicely, aren't they, really, against the Coventry side, who aren't in the best form at the moment, just 2 points from the last 4 games, not looking too great for them, Fulham, I don't think it really matters who they play at Championship level these days. They've got to be considered the favourites, and I think they will pick up another win here. But moving on then to the Monday night football this week, which is Championship, and one game that I'm really intrigued for, Huddersfield versus Luton. Now, obviously, Huddersfield secured an absolutely massive 1-0 win away at Hull, really just to keep them cementing in the playoff race, and Luton just a point behind them, who are also looking to cement themselves in the playoff race, but it's also tight and compact in there. This game really makes a difference. What way will it go? It's hard to say, for that reason I'm going to call it a draw. I'm going to say 1-1. But anyway, guys, that's it for the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, bring your thoughts, comments down below, follow us, send subscription me for daily football news, and subscribe to my channel, screen, I'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.